in the first period, I was like talking and not breathing. And I know I went really, really fast, and I didn't really give you all much opportunity to, ask questions. I'm hoping to try to leave some space at the end for questions. Some of these things, it's hard to wrap our brains around because this is a very visual program. So here's what I want to tell you. If you get 2 things out of the presentations that I'm giving you today, I want you to get 2 things, maybe 3 things. One is, if you can dream it, you can do it. There was nothing at all stopping us from having a consistent education program except us. You can do it. It's a lot of work, and I will not sugarcoat that at all. 10 years it took us to get to the end of the first round. We are right now, in this second, we are teaching through the second round of our curriculum. I feel like we went through pretty fast the first time. Some of the things that I didn't really touch on, but I want you to understand, is we had 280 lessons. That broke out into it's about 6.5 years. The first, I think it's 16 and 16. The first, no, it's 8 and 8 because it's 16 semesters. The first 8 semesters are Old Testament. So we have 7 full semesters of Old Testament lessons, and 1 semester where we went back through and we picked painstakingly 20 lessons that we felt really encapsulated the Old Testament, and we did a review. Because some people, when we're presenting this, say, I'm sorry, they don't get any more Old Testament for another 6 years once they finish? No. So we review a lot. We do 3.25 years of Old Testament and then review, and then we do 3.25 years of New Testament and then we review. And then we pull it all back out again and we reuse it. Why? Because it's consistent and it's Bible and it never gets old. So this is a curriculum, this is a system, this is a program that we're going to be able to, the Palm Beach List is going to be able to use for probably the next 60 years, right? So it was worth the 10-year investment because it's really being very useful. So you can do it. The second thing that I want you to think about is, listen, y'all can think outside the box. We did. Like, I don't know of any other congregations, although I'm sure there are some. I don't know any other congregation that doesn't maintain the 13-week quarter system. Y'all, that's sacred. Because the year is divided into 4 so nicely. It's quarters, right? It's fall and it's spring and it's winter and it's summer and it's okay. And when we gave ourselves permission to let go of things that we felt like we had to be constrained by, this program really took off. So if you can dream it, you can do it. I'm going to show you a few pictures just so that what we are going to do in this session is we are going to step into the Stepping Into the Bible program. The first thing the kids do when they walk into the Stepping Into the Bible program is they walk down the hallway. You can see this mural, and this mural is designed to begin at creation, go all the way down and come back up to the resurrection. So you see the squirrels right there? Yeah. So this is a step down the hallway so that you can see all of the things. This is this side of the hallway, and it goes from creation to Noah's Ark all the way down to marching around the Jericho walls. We intended to have some 3D elements, like you can see here, the wooden beams that are built out so that they could paint the blood over the beams. There were other 3D elements that we wanted to have, and so I say that this is a work in progress. So even now, after the second time that we've gone through it, we're still adding things to it. Coming back down the hallway, chariots of fire. We have some really talented artists in our congregation, and they do some really cool stuff for us. So the big fish, right over the kids are so excited. Do I get to be in the big fish room this time? And you know what's cool? Here's one thing that we discovered with this. We had to, and you can see right here, and it's not zoomed in real good, but you can see that we had to put signs on the doors so that the parents knew where to take their kids. Because it's not like this is always going to be the 3 and 4 year olds classroom, right? They move around, and the parents are like, I never know where to take my kids. And we're like, read the door. So that's the hallway. This here's some examples of some classrooms, and these are the classrooms that were decorated when we took the pictures. This is Miss Diane asked me a really great question. Do you seriously redecorate the whole entire room each time? Yes, we do. This right here, and we learned some really ingenious ways to manage that. These are huge panels of canvas. And so our classroom decorating committee learned after the first couple of iterations. Listen, this didn't really come out. When our elders came to us in mid 2012 and said, we're going to start this in January 13, we're going to be ready to start teaching, we were like, we had the first semester ready to teach in January of 2013. And while they were teaching that 20-week class, that 20-week session, that 20-week semester, we were writing semester 2. So we stayed pretty consistently 1 to 2 semesters ahead in writing of what they were actually teaching. So it would be like hot off the press, and we would hand it to the classroom folks and be like, here's what it went from us, the writing committee, straight to the classroom committee, so that they could kind of get a feel for what were the classrooms going to, what were the lessons going to be like, so that they could start trying to figure out how to decorate them. They painted a lot of things on these canvases, and after the first couple of times, we went to the classroom committee and we said, y'all, doing a great job. I mean, phenomenal. You might want to think about some more generic sort of canvases, like a hill, like a stone wall. Because if you paint an arc up in the middle of that canvas, you can only ever use it for Noah. But if you paint a hill, we can reuse that canvas, and you're going to save yourself some effort, after 16 semesters. And they were like, oh, that's good feedback, thank you. So this is one of the classroom. This one was already on the wall. Somebody had painted this several years ago for the 4th and 5th grade classroom, and this is the missionary journeys of Paul. So what we did is we didn't cover this one up the semester that they were learning about Paul's missionary journeys, but all the rest of the time they hang up a canvas over it. This is really cool because this is the creation room. Now, what's cool about this room is, and some of the things are not on there, you see these things right here? These all have Velcro on them, and you can see on the other walls. So there are some things, the kids can walk up and they can pull off the things that are on the Velcro wall, so the teacher can use the actual classroom decor as a reinforcement. Which day does this one go on? And the kids have to go up and slap it onto the right day, right? So those are pretty cool. Yeah. Which day does Shamu go on? So those are, and listen, the other thing that we had to do was the people who were writing everybody's got an opinion about it, right? And so there were some folks who were writing curriculum who wanted to tell the classroom decorating committee how to do their stuff, and they were like, y'all are everybody's got their lane, and we all worked together, and it was a great opportunity. You know what? God put us in families, and when we all come together to work on a big project, the building of relationship that happened, this brought our whole congregation together in a lot of ways. So it was very exciting. We have camels in our classrooms, some of them. We have sheep. And you see here, like, they got the memo about the more generic sort of ones that could be reused. That is an altar with a sacrifice on it. And that right there is sponge painted styrofoam. Like, how cool is that? I bet y'all didn't know that chariots had bicycle wheels. They do in West Palm Beach, Florida. But the kids, so the kids walk into this, and it's not just the Ethiopian eunuch was traveling down the road in a chariot. The kids get to get in the chariot, and they get to pretend to be the Ethiopian eunuch and pretend to be Philip, and it's very visual. Remember I told you about the map and the bulletin board. The teachers were very concerned about their bulletin boards, and so we gave them one. This is really cool. So this is the first semester, right? They spend 4 weeks on creation, 4 weeks on Adam and Eve, 4 weeks on Noah, 4 weeks on Abraham, and 4 weeks on Abraham and Isaac, because Abraham had a lot going on. And then each one of these represents a specific lesson. So we went through, we paid for, I think it was Sweet Publishing back then, we bought the big CD full of Bible artwork, and we specifically went with Bible artwork because these kinds of images will still work 60 years from now because the Bible stories don't change. So we went through and tried to determine a one single image for each lesson that really told the story, right? And so what's really cool is you see these little like brackets right here with the little feet in the bottom. This shows the kids and the teacher, where are we this week, right? And this doesn't just show the kids where they fit in this week. This shows the kids where they fit in the whole semester. And this bulletin board is in every single classroom. The same board, the same images, the same map, so that they know where they are every time. And the teachers actually ended up loving this. I was not an education major, but I had one of our teachers come to me and say, "Oh, this is brilliant. I use this for scaffolding." I'm like, "You're constructing stuff in your classroom?" She goes, No. So she explained that, like, you know, she's able to use this as a teaching resource in her classroom. She says to the kids, "This is where we are today. Do you remember what happened to Noah last week? Tell me what happened to Noah last week. What did we learn about Noah before that? What do you think is going to happen to Noah next?" And when they finish this one, they're able to say, "Do you know what classroom you're going to next time? Next time we're going to learn about Abraham," or whatever. So we found this to be a very helpful visual map for where are we going in the semester. And also, where does this fit in the Bible, right? This visual map on the bulletin board has paid all kinds of educational dividends. So it's very exciting. Remember I told you about the Media Center? Cool stuff. Okay, so these are the bins that I was telling you about. Now each one of these bins, like this is Samuel. Samuel, it says 4.5 because this is in semester 4. Semester 4, session 5. Right? And so this bin right here, when it's semester 4, comes out of where it is on the shelf and it goes down to that classroom and it stays in there. And you can see that it's got posters and it's got storybooks and it's got flannel graph. And this one up here has some kind of craft in it. And this one down here has got what appears, that's David's slingshot thingy. Right? There's all kinds of cool stuff in there, stuff I didn't even know we had. And there was a committee that went through everything that was in that Media Resource Center and put it in bins and labeled it. And now when a teacher comes in, they don't have to stand in front of a row full of coloring books and be like, "What am I going to do for my Bible class?" Because it's all ready to go. And it gets so much better than that. These right here are the canvases. Y'all, we didn't buy these. By the grace of God, and like we're sad for them. The Crafts and Stuff went out of business in West Palm Beach, Florida. And I was sad about that because I'm a scrapbooker and I love me some Crafts and Stuff. But they were selling all of their stuff, including their material, like rollers. And we picked up somebody with a pickup truck and we went down there and we bought those things from the Crafts and Stuff. And now we have back in our resource library, all of these are the canvases for each of the classrooms and they're labeled and they're ready to go for the next time. It's very exciting. We also have a centurion who clearly needs a shirt. Well, I'm sorry, Miss Diane. Put some clothes on that man. Okay, so this right here, I'm showing you this because this is a sad shelf. Like back in the day, before we had the Stepping Into the Bible program, we had the wall of coloring books, the wall of them, and they were like, this is the Bible coloring book, jumbo Bible pictures, jumbo Bible coloring book. Yeah, but what's in there? And so if I'm teaching a Bible class, I have to flip through 427 Bible coloring books to try to figure out what kind of activities I want. Our teachers don't have to do that anymore. They certainly can if they want to. But what we did is we went through these coloring books and we emailed the publishers and we said, here's what we want to do. We want to put into the hands of our teachers a teaching binder, and we want them to have ready everything that they need in order to teach this class. We want to give them the number of options for all ages, for age 3 all the way up to 4th and 5th grade. And we tried to give them more stuff than they needed for each one, right? And we asked for permission to be able to use them in Bible classes. And most of the publishers said, of course, that's what we made the books for. So we went through all of these books and cut them up. Yes, we did. And our handwork committee did that. And they were very meticulous about which things went with which lessons. And they are, I'm going to pass this binder around a little bit, or if you can come up after and look at it if you want to. But we have organized all of the coloring and handwork into the teacher's binders so that when we ask a teacher to teach, we say, everything you need is in this binder. Please use this for planning. Please use this for study this. But you should not have to go outside of your classroom or your binder to find any materials to teach your class, because it is all right here. So it should theoretically make things far, far easier for our teachers. But we keep this up here to remind ourselves how much easier we have it now. And these are the binders. So each binder is, this is Jesus Healing Miracles, okay? And each binder is a session. So each binder has 4 lessons in it, right? And they're all organized and stored. And this has, it says right here on it that it's for semester 11, session 3. And I'll go ahead and pass that around if you want to, so y'all can look at it if you want to. You can take pictures of it if you want to. So this is where we store our binders in here, and we have people who are in charge at the end of each lesson at session. The teachers turn their binders back in, and we have a group of people who go through and clean them up, and they make sure that if they need to replace anything in it or fix anything in it, so it's fixed. And we have storage space in the resource library to maintain the storage of all of those binders. You know what's actually really cool about those? We have people who go on mission trips, and they come to the binders and they're like, "Ooh, I want to teach about David, and this lesson's already ready to go." So they just pull it out and make some photocopies of it, and they're good to go. So it's been a really helpful resource, not just for our Stepping into the Bible program, but overall. The teacher's binder, which I've been talking to you about. Here's what's in the binder, okay? We made 5 copies of each binder, 1 for each teacher, because like I said, there's 5 classrooms, right? It's intended to give the teachers everything they need. It has the teacher instruction, and the I'm going to pass out for you a copy of the teacher instruction information that is in our binder, so you can go home with one. I'm going to pass out for you a sample lesson plan, and a couple of other things as well. There's a lesson plan in each binder. There's handwork. There's plenty of handwork. Like if you're teaching 4th and 5th grade, there's older level handwork. If you're teaching 3-year-olds, there's 3-year-old level handwork. We tried to, some lessons were harder than others to find handwork for, but we tried to make way more options for the teachers than they needed. And you'll see in the binder that it's all inside like a plastic, what do you call those? Page protectors, thank you so much. So they shouldn't even, we had to tell them, y'all please do not take these papers out, the page protectors. Just slap the page protector right on the copier, print off what you need. In the binder, we pre-print for the teachers 15 copies of the first page. And I'm going to show you the first page in a minute, which is, in my opinion, the crowning jewel of this curriculum, and it's the thing that I love the very, very most, which is the take-home sheet. But we print that for them in full color, so they have that to take home to their parents. This was, we talked a little bit about the songbook, but every binder has a songbook in it, and it's got a flash drive with all of the songs. I had a little boy, he was 3 at the time, and he's bigger than that now, but he came to me one day, and he goes, Miss Tracy, you're singing on my phone. I was like, I'm sorry, what? And his mom said, we took the flash drive and we loaded it up on his little iPad, and he can listen to the Bible class songs anytime he wants to now. So we actually got together for a Bible lesson. We recorded ourselves singing the Bible class songs. It was hysterical. And the outtakes of that nonsense, yeah, good times. But it was a lot of fun, and it's a great resource. This was intended to unify our educational efforts. We wanted a consistent look, a consistent product, something that was easy to put into the hands of our teachers so that we could say, you can teach, it's not hard, and we've done all of the hard stuff for you. Additionally, you don't have to teach for 13 whole weeks anymore. Most of our teachers teach for 12 weeks, but in a pinch, it's done 4 weeks at a time. So we could say, can you just fill in for 8 weeks? Can you fill in for 4 weeks, right? It's much, I won't say it's easy to get teachers now, but I will say that it is much easier to get them. And it's easier to train them. We have teacher trainings, because this is a whole new thing, right? So we sat all the teachers down at the very beginning, and we said, guys, here's how we want you to teach this. Here's some easy tips, you know, like don't take it out of the page protectors, like if you have trouble, come talk to the editor, that kind of thing. We solicited feedback. We have a lot of folks in our congregation who teach for a living, and we wanted them to tell us what they thought about it. And for the most part, they said, y'all, this is a game changer. This is tremendously helpful. It was intended to be easily adaptable for all ages, and I probably didn't talk enough about the fact that so you're going to see as the binder comes around, the same lesson is intended to be used for the 3-year-olds that is intended to be used for the 4th and 5th graders. Really? Yes, really. You know why? It's the same exact story in the Bible. We know as teachers how to fit things to the age group that we are teaching to, right? David's going to teach to an adult class in the auditorium the story of Noah in a much different way than somebody's going to teach to the kindergartners the story of Noah, but it's the same story in the Bible, and that principle goes for here. Like, we expect our teachers to teach what we wanted them to teach, so we try to give them a framework, but some autonomy, because we wanted that consistency of education. So then we have the lesson plan, and this is pretty cool. I love this so much. I love the take-home sheet so much. And our visitors come. It's a super easy way to talk to visitors who have come, because you can walk up to their kids while they're standing there with their parents and be like, "Did you have Bible class today? What did you learn about it?" And they can like hand that paper up and show you. This right here is the front page of every child goes home with this. It has the objective on it. Why did we teach them this story? Why did we choose this story? The teachers are expected to get across to the kids. This is the underlying lesson of why God wants you to know this story. There's a scripture reference, and the reference is, where is this story found in the Bible, right? That's for the teachers and it's for the parents, so that they can go read those actual verses out of the Bible with their children. There's a memory verse. Some of the memory verses are longer than others, right? But every single one of these lessons has a memory verse. There's the lesson facts, and directly beneath the lesson facts are the review questions. And so you can ask your child the review questions. And question number 1, what is a miracle? The answer to that is right up here, right? So you can go with your kids you can ask them all the questions, you can quiz them, you can like Bible bowl it up at home after dinner at the kitchen table, right? And then the last thing is, each lesson has a full color pictures. Now what's really cool is the editor is super awesome. He's amazing. I married him. This story here, this picture here shows you what story we are on, but it also shows you where we're going, right? And so next week, this picture right here will be in full color, and all of the other ones will be sort of grayed out, so you can see where we are and where we're going. So I love the lesson plan, and that, like I said, we printed 15 of those up for each teacher for each lesson, so they don't even have to make copies. It's just ready to go in their binder. The next thing that's in the lesson plan is a narrative. We did a 1-page, like, first grade level storytelling of whatever the event was or whatever the story was. And the reason we did that is because we wanted the teachers to know exactly which part of the story we wanted them to cover. Some stories could go on for pages in the Bible, but this narrative shows for them exactly what we wanted them to teach. This could be used just as a storytelling. They could read this out to their classroom if they wanted to. They could have one teacher reading this out, and they could have a second teacher doing like finger puppets or flannel graph or whatever. But this was designed so that the teachers knew what they were covering. One of the things that we learned as we headed in was that older kids were going to need discussion questions. Like 4th and 5th grade kids were going to need discussion questions. That the teachers were needing discussion questions to kind of lead the older kids in better discussions. And these are, things like, this was Jesus Stills the Storm. Discuss the humanity of Jesus as compared to the deity of Jesus. How does this Bible event show both sides of our Savior, right? So the kids could talk about, Jesus was sleeping. Like, don't you need to take a nap when you're tired? Yes, you do. But then Jesus woke up and he stilled the storm. And so, like, for our 4th and 5th grade kids to be able to talk about Jesus was 100% human, and also to talk about Jesus was 100% God, our teachers found this to be a super helpful resource for them. This right here, the teaching resources, lists all of the things that are available for the teachers. Like, this is the things that are in the bins, the things that are available in the media center, the lesson reinforcement, that's the handwork, the things that they can make photocopies of. And then on Wednesday night highlights, we made available to them some volunteers who would come to classrooms and do the games, or do the songs, or do the Bible Bowl type things, or to do extra larger crafts. So the lesson plan is every teacher, it's already done for them. The whole lesson plan is planned out. All they have to do is if they're going to do crafts, put together the crafts, or choose what handwork they wanted to do. So we've made it fairly easy for them. And then the last thing, I think it's the last thing, we chose songs for each lesson. And here's a whole big list of songs that you might want to sing with your kids. Here's what we found. The 4th and 5th graders are like, we're too cool for singing the but the 3 and 4-year-olds and the kindergartners will belt it out. And so we gave them a whole bunch of songs to choose from. So the songbook is one of my favorite things that's a part of this curriculum. So that's the lesson plan. And then here's the curriculum as a whole. 16 semesters. David's got a customized numbering system, so we have number. So let's say we'd be like in semester 15, section 4, lesson 2. So it'd be 15.4.2, right? So that when we walk right up to the binder or at the bottom of the lesson, like the parents and the teachers can see exactly where we fit in the semesters. And the curriculum people can see how close it is to time to like pull the next round of boxes out. We have 8 Old Testament semesters with 1 review semester, 8 New Testament semesters with 1 review semester, 2 mini-week sessions, 2-week mini sessions, and then we have that rotation through the classrooms every 4 weeks. People, when we first started talking about this, got very, very concerned about how long we were taking to teach through the Bible. And they were like, that's 6.5 years, y'all. So at the end of the 6.5 years, my kid hasn't learned about the Old Testament since 3.25 years ago. And my answer to that is, have you read the Bible? Because every part of this, we tried so hard in the lesson facts and in the narratives to tie back to something that we learned before or look forward to something that's coming ahead. This that happened with Abraham and Isaac, look at how that points us to Jesus, right? This that happened when Jesus stilled the storm, look how that points back to how God is in control. God created, all the way back on day 1, God created the water cycle, and He created the oceans, and He created the lakes. And look how He, as Jesus, can control them. So we have tried as much as we possibly can to make this a continuative string of narrative that ties the whole Bible in the minds of our children back to focusing on Jesus and focusing on God. We had some decisions to make. We had some lessons to learn. This was an entirely new way of teaching for all of us. Those of us who were writing it, those of us who were creating it, those of us who were going to be expected to teach it. It was a big shift in thinking. The biggest shift in thinking, I have to tell everybody, was, and it probably is not a surprise to you, but it was the 13-week quarter system, right? Because that's just what you do. Like every ladies' class book I pick up has 13 chapters in it, right? When we picked up even small children, like 13 weeks. Workbooks are 13 weeks because of the quarter system. I think I mentioned. Did I mention in the first class that when we first started teaching this, the grown-ups and the high school kids were all still on the quarter system, and the kids were on the 20-week semesters, and people were losing their minds. So we went to the whole congregation now is all on the 20-week system with the 2-week mini sessions. And instead of having 13 weeks or 20 whole weeks, we have 10 weeks and 10 weeks. That's way easier for a ladies' class of 10 weeks than it is 13 weeks, right? And more than that, it's enabled us to get a whole lot more topics through in a year. So we're able to study a lot more varied things, and it's very exciting. And then we have the 2-week mini sessions, which is super cool. We use those for missionary reports. We use those for learning new songs. The kids in the youth group desperately want us to learn new songs, and we try so hard to we learn the songs that we're learning in West Palm Beach that are new songs. Y'all all up here have been singing for like 10 years already. We are way behind, because as previously stated, not in the Bible Belt. But we use our 2-week mini sessions for times like that. We use them for deep, in-depth, like digging down studies in something that you couldn't get an entire 10 weeks out of, but you could get 4 lessons out of. And we have the whole congregation together. We use them for drills, and it's a great way for us all to grow together cross-generationally. We implemented some mandatory teacher training. If you want to teach at Palm Beach Lakes, you have to fill out a teacher questionnaire. Our elders request a questionnaire so that they can make sure that we're all on the same page, right? Additionally, we sat all the teachers down and we presented this, and then we said, here's how you teach it. A lot of times we will require folks, if they've never taught at Palm Beach Lakes before, they need to be an assistant in a classroom with teachers who have taught it several times before. And more in today's society, it's just smart to have more than one adult in a classroom anyway, so like we pretty much require assistance. So we have that teacher training, and it's awesome. We do it every 3 years. It's an in-depth training to explain to the teachers how stepping into the Bible works and explain how this program goes. Before every semester, we try to have a teacher meeting. Now, we bring donuts, because that's what you got to do for a teacher meeting, right? And we have a meeting on, we're getting ready to do semester 16. Semester 16 is a review. Here's what we're going to be teaching. Here, does anybody have any questions? And it's just like a quick recap kind of thing. The rotation of classes every 4 weeks, it means most of the kids started out of order. We know that. We had to allow ourselves to accept that. And I can't remember the number of times we said, but we do that at VBS every year, and nobody gets upset that we do VBS like out of order every year, right? Some kids are going to be in the David classroom while some kids are in the Moses classroom, and nobody ever says, well, that's not the right order. But we were so concerned about the chronological story of the Bible, about the thread of the Bible, that we got into our own heads a little bit about some of the kids getting it out of order. So we decided, we made an executive decision as a committee that the 4th and 5th grade kids would go through it in order. I'm gonna, Ms. Diane, if you wouldn't mind just taking this and passing it around. This is an example of this is a 1 semester map. So it shows you where, if you look diagonally, you can see where the 4th and 5th grades classes go for each session. We created the timeline bulletin board in each classroom so that we could show where each room was going to fit, right? And it's really cool for them to use that to see where we are, where we're going. Some of the other things that we had, I talked to you a little bit before, but we changed the whole congregation over to the 20-week session series instead of the 13 weeks, and everybody was much happier then, right? We still had trouble with folks making announcements. It took us a while to get the new terminology, right? It's a session. This is a lesson in a session, which fits into a semester, right? We would still have folks make announcements and say, we need some help down the hallway because we got a new quarter coming up. No, we don't. We don't have any quarters at all. So it was a struggle for us, like vocabulary and semantics. The 2-week mini sessions have been some of my favorite things. Now, the kids during the 2-week mini sessions are all down, and God bless the folks. God bless the folks who volunteer to do the 2-week mini sessions with the children, right? The 2-week mini sessions in the auditorium with the grown-ups, that's a lot of fun. But some happy brothers and sisters are down the hallway in the family room, and we call our fellowship hall the family room, with all of the children aged 3 through 5th grade in one big classroom. And they're doing drills, and they're doing songs, and they're doing reviews, and they're doing like Bible Jeopardy, and they're doing what did we just learn, and what are we getting ready to learn. And it is a really fun time for the kids. And they don't always realize how much Bible they're getting sunk into their little brains during those times. Here's something that we still haven't worked out to the level that I would like to see us work out. Children who are age 3 sit in different chairs than children who are in 5th grade.
I was about to ask that.
Yep. And here's what I said I would love for us to do. I would love for us to get rid of chairs altogether in the classrooms. I would like for the kids to, because when you walk into the class, we wanted them to step into the Bible, right? And you know what they did not have in the Bible? Like a table and chairs, right, in a classroom. Well, I would love to see like rock-shaped beanbags that the kids sit on, or they sit in the floor. That was just not feasible. So for right now, and for the last, since 2019, since 2013, we will have an announcement. Men, we need you to go down the hallway and help them move the chairs. So they will move the chairs with the classroom, so like every 4 weeks. Is it every 4 weeks? Yeah, as necessary. So there's a lot of furniture moving going on. I think that could be better, and I'm happy to tell you that it could be better. Yeah, but you know what? That's an opportunity for some folks to serve who necessarily wouldn't serve in other ways, but they're willing to stay after church on a Wednesday night to help move some tables and chairs around. and they are willing to do it to help children in an education program. I do think that could be better. I think that there is a seating system out there that would work for everybody, but thus far we haven't found it. We decided to move the furniture from class. We see right here, it's right here on the screen. We have considered purchasing furniture that would fit multiple age groups, but thus far nobody has found one that everybody agrees on. So like I said, this is not a perfect system, but it works for us. The rotation of classrooms every 4 weeks created some confusion for the parents. So we made magnets to stick on the doors. And we just told them, go, look, you know what grade your kid's in, look for the third graders. We had to get used to starting and stopping semesters at random times. What does that mean? Well, when is promotion Sunday? When do y'all do promotion Sunday?
As soon as school's out.
As soon as school's out. But what if we're in the middle of a semester, right? So we have had some years where some of those things were difficult, and where do you move the kids to and how does that work? So those are some things that we had to work on figuring out. So here's what I'll tell you. There are a lot of really, really cool things about this program that worked for us. It won't necessarily work for everybody else. I do have some more things for you, Miss Ann. I'm gonna since the ladies are. This is a sample of the lesson that was up here. Jesus stills the storm. This is a copy of the teaching, the front material that's in the binder for the teachers to look at. This is the teacher instructions. And this right here, which is really cool, is a spreadsheet list of all 280 lessons. These are our semesters. These are our classes. These are the titles of the lessons, all 280 lessons, so that you can see what we did. And we'll get those passed out in just a couple of minutes. And here's what I want to tell you. This works for us. There are some things about it that I think we could still improve, obviously. Like I said, we're only on the second iteration through it. And as we went through the first session, we were still writing it. As we went through the second session, we were tweaking things that we were learning. You know, the teachers were coming back to us and giving us feedback, and we were trying to incorporate that feedback. This is the last set. Thank you so much. So there are a lot of things about it that could be improved. The furniture could be improved. Trying to figure out what we do about promotion Sunday and things like that. That could be, those are questions that we have to ask ourselves. But the overall, what we were trying to achieve with this program works for us. It 100% works for us. What does that mean for you in your congregation? It doesn't mean you need to try to implement stepping into the Bible. But what it might mean is, wow, that's some outside the box thinking that maybe we can take back and we can try and evaluate what we're doing and how we're doing it, and can we be thinking outside the box a little bit more? Because when we gave ourselves permission to think outside that box, we found our program to be very, very successful. So I know I went through that really, really quickly. Do you all have any questions?
How big is your congregation?
We have about 300 on a Sunday morning. COVID did for us probably what it did for a lot of y'all, and we struggle on Sunday nights anymore, but about 300.
So the teacher would go with the age group?
Yes.
Okay.
So the 4th grade teacher stays with the 4th grade class. So they follow, they keep the same, but now the kids are it's a 20-week semester, but we do not ask teachers to teach for 20 weeks. We ask them to teach for 12 weeks. So they would teach 12 weeks, and then the next teacher would come in, and then that teacher would stay for the first 4 of the next round. Yeah. But we try to keep the kids with the teacher. There are some children who have a meltdown if they have a different teacher in the classroom, and they have to get used to the new teacher. Any other questions? Okay, that's a good sign because it means I covered it pretty good. I went really fast. I also
I do have a quick question.
Yes,
I'm going to kind of put together your timeline. So you started it in 2013.
So in 2009, we had the concept.
Yeah.
In 2012, we were writing it. In January of 2013, we taught the very first lesson.
With this whole deal.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
you've gone through the whole thing.
We've gone through the whole thing one full time,
Okay.
and right now we're on semester 11, 12, the second time around. So we're almost to the end of the second round.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
What would you say are the biggest, like, the participating adults that you've had to, what did they say from the first 6.5 years?
What did they think of it?
Yeah, like, in the
They-
tweak change,
They love it.
right?
They love it. And we had teachers who, like I said, that's what they did for a living. We had kindergarten teachers who taught kindergarten for a living, fourth grade teachers who taught fourth grade for a living, and they came to us and they said, we love this. They said, this has made it so much easier for us to volunteer to teach. This is not what we intended these binders for, but we have found on a couple of occasions, like in an emergency situation where a teacher was unable to be at church because like somebody went to the hospital. I mean, if I'm going to be on vacation, I'm going to get somebody to cover my class, right? But if for some reason somebody was not able to cover a class, theoretically, a person will be able to walk in the door with a binder and sit down and teach the class because it is all right there. That's not to say that we don't expect our teachers to plan. We do, and prepare, we do. But this has made it very, very easy to get coverage and to get teachers to volunteer because it's all right here done for them. Yes, ma'am, they really love it. Y'all have been awesome. You've been very gracious listeners, and I know that is a lot to take in. It feels a little bit like, drinking on the fire hose. So I know I went through that really, really quickly. Thank you so much for your gracious attention. If I can answer any questions at all, please come talk to me. And I encourage you as you're going back to your own congregations to just don't limit yourself to anything but the Bible. Like, the Bible is what limits you, but beyond that, these kids deserve so much love poured into them, and we owe it to the next generation to raise up Christians who love the Bible and know the Bible and have the Bible as a part of their hearts. So if you can dream it, you can do it.